So you want to have a threesome or a foursome or something that involves you and your partner and other people. Let's talk about how to do it in a way to help set you up for success. Hey there, I'm Consul. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and an ASEX certified sex therapist here to help you have more satisfying and secure sex and relationships. Here's a roadmap to help set you up for success. Number one, clarify your intentions. You want to understand very clearly and the deeper piece underneath why you and your partner want to explore with others. Ask yourself and your partner questions like, what do you want to get out of this experience? Why do you want to do this? How would you know it was a successful experience? What do you want to learn about yourself? What do you want to learn about me through this experience? What are you most excited about? What are you most nervous about? These questions will help guide you in identifying what kind of experience to pursue and how to best set it up. These questions shouldn't be asked in rapid fire succession. Take your time with each one. Go deeper and ask more questions underneath each question, such as, what about that interest excites you, scares you? Tell me more about that. Why that thing? What about that? You want to dig deep and really spend time. Right now, you are laying the foundation that's going to help set you up for success. So this is not a step that you want to rush through. You are building this foundation, and this will pay dividends in the long run if you have a stronger foundation. Once you've laid that foundation and you have a really good understanding of what each of you are looking for and what you're wanting for your relationship, start looking at how this might actually look. Ask, what is your ideal scenario? Describe it. What about that scenario interests you? What about it scares you? What makes you nervous? What excites you? If you have very different ideas of how this might look, even if you have similar intentions, you're going to really need to spend some time discussing how to collaborate to create something that honors both of your different desires and wants. As you gain more clarity on what you'd like this experience to entail, you can start discussing how this could actually happen. Would it be something you do at home, at a club, at a party, at a hotel? Now, as you're discussing your intentions, you're going to start gaining insight of whether you may prefer to have this experience be with somebody you already know, a new person, or a sex worker. You'll need to discuss how you might meet, find, or approach this person, and this will depend on what you want the experience to entail. If it's somebody you already know, how can you open up dialogue about this? If you want to meet somebody new, will you do it on an app like Field or a forum like FetLife, at a local swinger or play party? If you are wanting to engage with a sex worker, which I acknowledge is generally illegal in the US, so you're going to have to find where it is legal, how you will engage with it in a way that actually works for you guys. If you're a couple looking for a third person, I think it's really important to talk about something called couple privilege. Now, this can play out especially in threesomes where the couple essentially sees that third person as someone for the couple's pleasure rather than also thinking about the needs, wants, and feelings and desires of that third person. So if you're looking for someone to do exactly what you want without as much concern for their desires, then you really need to look into ways to legally engage in sex work. A threesome is about everyone is participating, enthusiastically consenting, and being considered equally. Now, how those dynamics look when you're actually playing may look very different, and that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is setting it up, of really engaging with that third person, and I'm focusing on threesomes here because that's where this dynamic comes out a lot, but it can play out in different ways. But of really taking in the considerations of that third person, that they are participating for their own wants and desires, and that is equal, just the same as that couple. When you guys are going into this, you're going to be wanting to also not just be talking to your partner about what do we want, what are our boundaries, but really engaging with that other third or fourth person or that other couple or whoever you're participating with and asking them those same questions. Moving along that same idea, and on our roadmap, you want to discuss boundaries and expectations with all participants. You're going to want to start between you and your partner and then expand on to whoever else is participating in this. Everyone needs to understand where the boundaries are for everybody who's participating. It can be helpful to discuss a red, yellow, green plan. Red is things that are off limits. Now, you can always change this later on, but you're saying at least for this experience, this thing is off the table. So let's not even discuss it during the experience. And I would really encourage you, if you set that boundary for this experience, don't change it in the moment because you don't want to create distrust in the future that you guys are going to get caught up in the moment. You're going to get pressured or anything like that to go over your boundaries. So if you set a boundary for experience, really stick to it. Now, yellow means that you need to proceed slowly or get explicit consent before doing the thing in the experience. Now, green means that there is consent to do these things. Now, that can always be revoked, which you're going to want to discuss how to revoke consent, or if you need to take a break during the experience. You may want to come up with a word or a phrase that you can use and discuss like how you can best check in with each other, and this is everybody, during the experience. This can be a really sexy conversation. Consent and boundaries are sexy because that means when everyone understands the boundaries, there's actually more freedom because you know where you can play rather than in the moment getting caught in your head of going, is this okay? Is this not? Where are we going? What are the things? All of that. When you have these boundaries, you have actually more freedom. You're not going to want to talk just about boundaries during the actual experience itself, but leading up to it, leading out of it. For example, what happens when you're done? Will you have a sleepover? Will somebody leave? Do you want to have a meal together? Do you want to snuggle, watch a show? What does that look like? Now, so you can have a vision and know what everyone's expectations are. Are there any kind of boundaries beforehand as you guys are just hanging out, going on dates? Now, some of this you may discuss while you're getting to know each other, but also if there's something like right before and right after, you guys want to talk about that. Moving forward on our roadmap, do not hide from your feelings, any of your feelings. All feelings have a purpose, and you want to listen to what they're telling you rather than dismissing them because you shouldn't feel that way or it might mean this certain thing. Feelings aren't good or bad. They may be comfortable or uncomfortable, but you want to invite all of them in so you can understand them and work with them rather than against them. Feelings of jealousy or fear doesn't necessarily indicate that you shouldn't do something. These are normal human emotions, but you do want to pay attention to them and understand them. Now, when your partner shares difficult feelings, don't immediately jump to problem solving or say, we just shouldn't do this. Instead, listen, reflect what you're hearing, validate their feelings, and collaborate to understand what this means. Now, rounding out our roadmap, you're going to want to debrief after the experience. Spend time discussing how you felt about the experience, both during it and now afterwards. Reflect on and share what you liked, what you didn't, what you want to do more of or less of in the future, what surprised you, what feelings came up. Remember all the feelings. And revisit this conversation a few times as your understanding of your experience can change as you process it and time goes on. And then make adjustments as needed if you're going to be doing this in the future. Again, you can revisit that red, yellow, green list, revisit your boundaries, what you're expecting from future experiences. Each experience is unique. Just because you set these boundaries in this experience doesn't mean that they have to always be that. That's the beautiful thing about this is you guys are communicating, you're learning about yourselves and each other, and you can shift those. It can be really helpful to spend time with the person or persons that you're going to be having the experience with where sex is actually not on the table. This is true especially if these are one of your first times engaging with somebody else in your relationship. I find it so much more helpful to tiptoe, go slowly, because once you do something, you can't undo it. And the more we can kind of go slow, notice feelings, process through them, you can help set yourself up for success. Now, in the future, maybe you don't need to do all of this, or maybe you do. Again, every partnership is different. But especially in the beginning, as you're figuring out what works for you, what you guys like, this can be really helpful. So go on some dates with this person. And essentially that means where you're just spending time together, where the goal is not to have sex at the end of the night. And actually, I would encourage you to take it off the table so there isn't that pressure of what are we gonna do? Is this gonna happen or not? You guys just gonna go out for dinner, you're gonna go out for a coffee, you're gonna go hang out, you're gonna go play mini golf, whatever it is. So you can have that experience of being all together, and all of you can take notice of what that feels like for you, see how you guys are feeling together. You guys can talk about it with your partner, you can talk about it together. All of that can be really helpful. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to date that person. You don't have to go on lots and lots of dates. At least one meetup. And this can be super casual where you guys are just spending some time together. Because again, going back to that, you need to discuss those boundaries and expectations. And this can be a great time to do it. And paying attention to what's coming up in your body, seeing how you guys can talk about that, what it feels like to share that with your partner, with this other person, how all of that feels. Go slow. You can always speed things up in the future, change things as you have more experience, as you get more comfortable, as you know what you like, what you don't like. But right now, when you're figuring out this landscape, go slow. This is uncharted territory, and you're not going to want to go running head first in because you don't know what's there. There's your general roadmap. I could spend a lot more time on each one of these, so let me know what your questions are, what you want to know more of, or if you want to hear about how real partners have dealt with this, let me know in the comments below.